يومئذ ناعمة. Those people whose face will be joyful. And ayat number 9, لسعيها راضية, and they will be satisfied with their effort. It means that لسعيها راضية, it describes that the cause of all their attributes, why they are happy, because they are satisfied with their efforts, which we will talk about it later in following verses. So it still doesn't say which kind of characteristics and which kind of what was the attribute of their actions that they are satisfied, they are happy. Just explains about their position on the day of Qashiyah, that في جنة عالية, verse number 10, في جنة عالية, they are in Jannah, paradise, garden, elevated. لا تسمع فيها لاقية. They are in the situation that they don't even hear vain talk, useless talk. You know, where there is not even a useless sound or talk, it means that they are in the situation of ultimate enjoyment of blessings. Blessings we call ni'mat. Yeah, they are in the situation that they are and the maximum enjoyment, ultimate enjoyment of blessings, that they will not even hear useless sound or talk. And is in the situation that the first group was in fire, and the food for them was just bitter thorn plants, and the water was boiling water, and this group are using in fact, they are showering. Allah is showering them with blessings and with ni'mat. فيها عين جارية, and all these ayahs is describing their condition on the day of Qashiyah, on the day of Qiyamah in Jannah and in Behesht, in paradise. فيها عين جارية, there will be a spring flowing. فيها سرر مرفوعة, there will be a thorn raised high. أكواب موضوعة, cups put in place. ونمارق مصفوفة, cushions line up. وزرابي مبثوثة, carpets spread out. It means Allah, with these verses, Allah is describing all kinds of heavenly blessings for them, which are available for them. So now we see the question comes to our mind that both of them, they had actions, they had deeds in the world, but what was the difference between them, that they are in totally different situations? And if you notice, Allah, one of the points of these groups of ayat is that mainly in Quran, Allah first explained about those people who they are in good situation, and then explains about, in fact, gives basharat, gives good news, and then warns them of azab and punishment. But in these verses of Surah Qashiyah, if you've noticed, the first group Allah described was those group that they were under fatigue and suffering from the result of their action. It means that the main direction and guidance of this group of ayats of Surah Qashiyah is based on warning aspect. Its warning aspect is priority over its evangelism. Allah wants the main purpose or the main aspect of these ayats is to warn those people who are unaware of the result of their actions. And it points to guide unaware people. We say qafil. They are not aware from the day of Qashiyah, the day of epidemic event, the day of Qiyamah. Okay, still we have this question in our mind that, okay, what was the difference between these two groups? And just Allah described the quality of life of these two groups of people. Now from ayat 17, which the second group of ayats and verses of Surah Qashir starts, Allah is saying, أَفَلَا يَنْظُرُونَ إِلَى الْإِبِلِ كَيْفَ خُلِقَتْ. In fact, the environment of these verses is in a situation that people, an audience of these verses, are not aware of the lordship of Allah, of the providence of Allah, and they are very in need of Prophet's reminder. They need to receive the message of Allah, but they are turning away from it. They don't want to accept it. They deny it. So from ayat 17 and afterwards, and the environment for the verses is in that environment. Allah is saying, أَفَلَا يَنْظُرُونَ إِلَى الْإِبِلِ كَيْفَ خُلِقَتْ, which is very important from ayat 17 and afterwards. And please listen carefully because there are very important points in it. أَفَلَا يَنْظُرُونَ. Again, when the sentence in Arabic starts with Hamza, sometimes it's again in question situation. أَفَلَا يَنْظُرُونَ means will they not consider? And لَا يَنْظُرُونَ. Nazara it's not any look. It is the looking or watching, but it's not normal watching. It's watching with consideration. So when Allah is saying, and la makes it negative. أَفَلَا يَنْظُرُونَ. La makes the verb negative in Arabic. أَفَلَا يَنْظُرُونَ means will they not consider? Will they not consider what? إِلَى الْإِبِلِ. Ibel means camel. كَيْفَ خُلِقَتْ. Will they not consider the camels, how they are created? It means that will they not consider the quality of creation of camel? وَإِلَى السَّمَاءِ كَيْفَ رُفِعَتْ. And again, when we explained before that when we have vav means and. So it connects the sentences together. So when we say وَإِلَى السَّمَاءِ كَيْفَ رُفِعَتْ, it means again we have أَفَلَا يَنْظُرُونَ إِلَى السَّمَاءِ كَيْفَ رُفِعَتْ. Will they not consider the sky, how it is raised, رُفِعَتْ. And كَيْفَ means how, the quality, how. وَإِلَى الْجِبَالِ كَيْفَ نُصِبَتْ. Again, أَفَلَا يَنْظُرُونَ إِلَى الْجِبَالِ كَيْفَ نُصِبَتْ. Jibal means mountain. And will they not consider the mountains, how they are fixed? نُصِبَتْ, fixed. وَإِلَى الْأَرْضِ كَيْفَ سُطِحَتْ. أَفَلَا يَنْظُرُونَ إِلَى الْأَرْضِ كَيْفَ سُطِحَتْ. It looks like أَفَلَا يَنْظُرُونَ is repeated for all these ayats. أَفَلَا يَنْظُرُونَ إِلَى الْأَرْضِ كَيْفَ سُطِحَتْ. And will they not consider the earth, how it is spread out? Okay, why Allah is trying to attract attentions to the quality of creations of these creatures. For example, Ebel, camel, how it has been created, how the creation of sky, how is it raised, the creation of mountain, how it is fixing mountains for the earth, and for the creation, the quality of creation of earth, which is spread out. Allah is trying to attract attention towards the creation of all these creatures. If we notice the creation of these creatures, we see how precise they have been created. For example, Ebel, camel, if we notice and if we study, in fact, we really need to study and do research about the wonders of their creations. That camel, how has got lots of wonders in its creation. For example, camels can, maybe you all know that how strong is camel, and camel can travel, for example, for 40 days in desert, without any water and food, because he can store water and food in his body. His body and his creation is in the way that he can store food and water for 40 days. So they use it to carry mankind or loads, to carry from one point to another point, from one place to another place, and for in hard situation, in tough situations. For example, in desert, when it's dry, there is no water and plants for him to eat, he can easily travel. And in sandstorm, when it is sandstorm, because his eyes has got two eyelids, one eyelid can close up and still he can see his way. So in sandstorm, he can move. These are just examples. There are lots of wonders of creations in the creation of camel, but these are just examples. Or for example, he can just be fed by thorn. If there is no plant, he can feed and he can eat thorn. And then he can distinguish directions very good. It's looking like he has got a strong GPS in his body. And so all these, to the point that his camel famously referred to as the sheep of the desert. It has been famous to that. The title of sheep of desert has been given to camel because of these wonders of his creations. So Allah is trying to, but for example, maybe with human beings and mankind, they don't notice and they don't consider these wonders of creations in camel. Allah is saying that notice it, consider this, trying to attract attention to the quality of creation of camel, to this design. What a precise engineering and design and creation and programming has Allah in the creation of just a camel. And then for example, sky, Allah is saying that will they not consider the sky, how it is raised? Sky with all these stars, planets, galaxies, and all these details and wonders, and has been raised without any column, without any pillar. Or إلى الجبال كيف نصبت, the mountains, how they are fixed. For example, they protect earth from shaking. They are fixed, how huge they are. And if we search about the wonders of creations of these creatures, we can see how precise Allah has designed and has programmed all these creatures. Or for example, the earth, how it is spread out, and what's the distance between sky and earth. That we have all heard that if the sky was closer, for example, to if the distance between earth and sun was little bit closer, everything would burn. And if it was far from what is it now, what has been set by Allah, all the earth would be dry and no sign of life we could see in it. Or for example, in the earth, volcanoes, that they control the vibration by when they become active. In fact, they control the vibration of the earth. So everything, every creature, if we notice, we can see that Allah, what is precise and skillful and perfect and professional engineering, designing and programming has been done by Allah. So just considering these creatures is enough for us to understand that the creator who has created these creations and who is designing them and guiding them to their destiny is the same one, and is nobody just but Allah. as an example, and so that's enough for us to see that when Allah has designed these creatures with the best engineering, the perfect engineering, the most professional programming, and most precise designing. So who is the better designer than him to plan and program our life, to program mankind life? And who would we choose? Which program would we choose as mankind to follow in our life other than the programming and planning which Allah has set for us? If we just notice these few creatures. For example, if when you want to set your kitchen, when you want to renew your kitchen set, for example, cabinets and everything. As an example, when you want to set your kitchen and change everything, you will go to different brands. For example, in UK, you can go to different, I don't know, Wren or different Wicks or different brands who they make cabinets, or IKEA and different. And you can choose, you can see that they say, for example, they present the catalogs of their designs, different designs for you, qualities for you, and they say that, oh, we are, for example, the best designer, and we will present the best quality and design for your kitchen. And definitely you will choose the best designer by the samples of their designs. For example, you will go see their catalogs and see the samples of their designs and quality of what they've done, which, as an example, they put in show, for example, showrooms. They have got showrooms and they present their designs to you, different brands. And which design will you choose? Which is the best design and quality. Allah, by these the creation, bringing these examples of camel, sky, earth, mountain, and all these, and the wonders of the creation of this, Allah is presenting just few examples of His designs and engineering and programming to us. So if just we consider these few examples, we understand that who is the best planner, who is the best programmer for us, and what's the best program in our life to follow up. Then in ayat 21, Allah is saying, فَذَكِّرْ إِنَّمَا أَنْتَ مُذَكِّرْ. So remind. You are only reminder. There are 2 points in ayat number 21. That Allah is saying remind them, it means that they need to be reminded, indicates that the need for this remind. So people who are not aware of the creations and wisdom of Allah, who are unaware of, in fact, rububiyat of Allah. I've explained to you about Rabb before, that I said Rabb means the owner and the authorized controller who creates and guides the creatures from the origin to destiny, to have the perfect destiny. Even in Surah A'la, we explained that, which we explained about, if you remember, about Hidayat Takwini, existential or universal guidance, for example, which is the universal guidance. Allah creates every creature and guides it from origin to the end point, to achieve the perfect destination. So for those people who are not aware, they need this reminder. That's why when Allah is saying فَذَكِّرْ, It means that Allah is saying, remind them, O Prophet, remind them. It means that they need reminding of this. Reminding of what? We said that in Tadabbur, all what is following, we follow in Tadabbur, what is the rule of Tadabbur is that all ayats are followed by each other. For example, there is one ayat after another ayat, and they are all connected and related together. So fazakir, remind them of what? Go back to ayat 17 to 20. Remind them of how the quality and the perfect engineering and programming and designing of the creation of camel, sky, mountain, and earth, with all the wonders in it, in their creations. Remind them. They need reminding. Mankind, who they are ghafil, who they are not aware, they're unaware of these creations, of the quality and the most skillful and perfect engineering of these, of the design of Allah in His creatures. They need this reminding. So fazakir, remind them. And second point of this ayat is innama anta muzakkir. Again, I just explain quickly because I don't want to go deep in the grammars of Arabic. In Arabic, when we have got innama, the word of innama means only. It limits it. But there is a rule that when we have innama in a sentence, it limits the last part of the sentence. For example, when we say innama anta muzakkir, you are only reminder. Just notice this. Maybe in some translation, I don't know, because I noticed in some English translation, it says that you are the only reminder. That's not right. Allah doesn't want to tell our Prophet that you are the only reminder and nobody else. No, this limitation goes back to muzakkir. It means, O Prophet, you are only reminder. And if you notice the next ayah 22, you understand what I want to say. Lasta alayhim bimusaytir. It means that you are not a controller over them, over those people who they are not aware of these precise creations. You can't control them. You can't force them to notice it. You can just remind them, but you can't force them to accept it, or you can't force them to believe it and come to their sense. No, you are just a reminder. It is because it shows that Prophet was under lots of pressure, because people who would they deny Prophet, and you've heard the story of life of our Prophet, that how much they would disturb him, those disbelievers, how much they would trouble him, and he was under lots of pressure. And Allah is saying that, oh Prophet, remind them, because they definitely need reminding. But remember, innama anta muzakkir, you are just reminder and nothing more than that. It's not that you are controlling of them, because if Allah wanted, by those by that which we explained, that hidayat takwini, existential guidance or universal guidance, which we explained in Surah Allah, hidayat takwini, which natural guidance, Allah could guide everybody, but then there would be no meaning to life and to rewards and punishment. There would be no difference between that if Allah would force everybody. So that's why Allah is saying, remind them, because they really need reminding. But you are just reminder. Lasta alayhim bimusaytir. You are not a controller over them. You can't control them completely and change them. And then here maybe another question comes in, that so doesn't it make any difference that they accept, or that they accept Prophet's message, or they deny it? Allah is saying, illa man tawalla wa kafar فيعذبه الله العذاب الأكبر. But whoever turns away and disbelieves, then Allah will punish him with the greatest punishment, Azab al-Akbar. So there is difference. It doesn't. When Allah is telling Prophet that innama anta muzakkir, you are just reminder and lasta alayhim b'musaytir, you are not a controller over that. He doesn't want. It doesn't mean that there will be no difference if people accept Prophet's message or deny it. No, those people who turns away, they disbelieve and they don't accept Prophet's message, Allah will punish him with the greatest punishment. And it shows when Allah is saying yu'azibuhu al-azab al-akbar, it shows that it is a sign of denial of Prophet's reminder. It means that there are people who they deny it and they insist on denying. So there are some points here that why Prophet, again, if we want to go through ayat 17 and afterwards, we see that Allah is saying, أَفَلَا يَنْظُرُونَ إِلَى الْإِبِلِ كَيْفَ خُلِقَتْ. The quality, Allah is trying to attract attention to the quality of the creating, not the original creating, because they could see, for example, camel, they can see sky, they can see earth, they can see mountain, but so they can't deny the existence of this origin of their these creatures. The thing they deny, they don't want to accept it, is that skillful engineering and design, that perfect design and programming which has been set in these creatures. That is what they are not aware of. They are unaware of. They don't consider. So Allah is trying to attract their attention to this perfect engineering and programming. And then, as we explained, when Allah, if Allah is the most wise, most professional designer, and he has done the most accurate programming in these creatures, for example, in camel, in sky, mountain, and earth, which are just few examples of the all the creatures. If Allah is the most professional and most precise designer on this, so the plan and program he has set for mankind life definitely is the most assurance and perfect program to guide mankind to his destiny. Imagine, for example, camel. He has been created to carry, for example, mankind or load, for example, in desert from one place to another place in tough situation, and his body and his creation has been programmed exactly to achieve that goal, which is to carry the, for example, mankind or load from one place to another place and take mankind or load to its destiny where it is supposed to go with no fault. He has been created. So if you notice it, so all the designing, all the programmings, all the programs Allah has set for us. How? Through Shariat. When we speak about Prophet's message or Fazakkar or all these Allah's programs and the plan Allah has been set for us in life, what is it according to? According to Quran, according to word of Ahl al-Bayt. In fact, it's according to Shariat. It's according to legislative guidance, Hidayat Tashri'i, legislative guidance, which we spoke in Surah A'la about it. So so this program Allah has been set for us in life, for mankind has been set according to Shariat, according to Islamic laws, which is extracted from Quran and word of Ahl al-Bayt. So this is the perfect and most accurate plan for humankind, human being, to reach her destiny and meet Allah. Again, if we go back to Surah An-Shafaq, to set the best quality of our meeting with Allah on the day of Ghashiyah. So you see how they are related and connected together. So with attracting attention of people to creation of camel, sky, earth, and mountain, and the wonders of creation, Allah wants to say that, okay, by considering these creatures, you can see. So it doesn't need that, for example, to be, it doesn't need to be, if we are wise enough, if we can just think about it, we can easily see how precise is the designing of Allah, how precise Allah has designed and has programmed every creatures in the world, which these are just few examples in this surah. And if we do research about this, we will be really shocked how wonderful these are, these creatures. So these are enough for us to understand that the plan Allah has set for the human being and mankind in life, according to Shariat, according to Hidayat Tashri, according to legislative guidance, is the most perfect and accurate program. But what's the problem with these unbelievers, disbelievers? Because they don't consider this perfect designing, this perfect engineering, this perfect programming, which Allah has set for the creations, because they are unaware of it. They are qafel, we say qafel, qaflat, they have got qaflat, they are unaware of it. So they don't believe and they don't consider that even this program which Allah has set for the mankind in life, according to Shariat, according to Quran and word of Ahl al-Bayt, is the most accurate one. So they don't set their actions and deeds in this world according to this program. They do what they want to do. In fact, they are their own abd. Instead of being Allah's servants, إِمَّا خَلَقْتُ الْجِنَّ وَالْإِنسَ إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُونَ. We didn't create jinn and ins, mankind, except to be our servant. What does it mean? That we set our life exactly according to the program and engineering design which Allah has set for our life. So these unaware people, because they don't consider it and they turn away. Tawalla wa kafar. Tawalla from what? They turn away from what? Kafar. We said that kafar, kafir, and kufr, according to the content of surah and different and content of verses in surah, can mean different things. So when they turn away and they don't believe this engineering, this perfect and skillful engineering and programming of Allah in creating of this world and mankind, when they don't notice it, they don't consider it, and they are unaware of it, they don't set their life and their actions in this world according to this program. According to which program? Program of Sharia. So what happens for them? Amilatun nasaba. If you go back to verse number 3, they become amilatun nasaba. They have done lots of actions in this world, but they're tired, they're under fatigue, they're suffering. Why? Because what they have done, their actions in this world, was not according to the plan of and program which Allah has set for us. Because they didn't believe, they tawalla wa kafar, they turned away of Prophet's message when Prophet reminded them of this perfect design and engineering of life which Allah has said, which when a prophet reminded them of this precise program Allah has set for the world and all the creators, they didn't. They turned away. They did tawalla wa kafar. They turned away and they didn't accept it, and they didn't believe that perfect and skillful programming. So they didn't adopt their actions and their life according to this the program of Sharia. Because what is deen? What is religion? Religion, which is according to Islamic laws, which has been extracted from Quran and word of Ahl al-Bayt, is nothing except a program for our life. So when people they don't believe that this plan and program is the most precise planning which has been set by Allah, which they don't consider the creation of like camel and sky, mountain, and earth, which can easily bring them to their senses. That this is the perfect engineering, perfect programming. So in that case, they don't set their actions and deeds in this world according to the plan of program of Allah. So what happens on the day of Ghashiyah, which is an epidemic? It means that nobody can escape from it. Now we can see coronavirus. And it's not even comparable, these two together. It's just an example. And now imagine the day of Qiyamah, the day of Qashiyah, which is an epidemic event. Then on that day, they are وجوه يومئذ خاشعة عاملة ناصبة. Although they have done lots in this world, but there will be the results of their actions. They have got them nowhere except nar, except fire, and except those sufferings which has been created by their own a'mal, by their own actions and deeds. So, according to Surah Qashiyah, because the design, if we notice the creator of the wonders of the creations of just these few examples of creators in ayat 17 to 20, that's enough to bring unbelievers and unaware people to their senses that the best and most correct plan has been set by Allah. And in ayat 25 and 26, إِنَّ إِلَيْنَا إِيَابَهُمْ ثُمَّ إِنَّ عَلَيْنَا حِسَابَهُم. Indeed, their return will be to us. And ثُمَّ إِنَّ عَلَيْنَا حِسَابَهُم. Indeed, their account is upon us. These two verses support the end and destiny of people, which is mentioned for them to establish how the torment will set. It shows them that it's supposed how that punishment will set for them. That again goes back to Qashiyah, that no chance that nobody can escape from that coming back, returning to us. And our judging and counting their actions and calculating the quality of their actions and their account is upon us and nobody else. So too much actions doesn't mean anything if it's not according to the plan of Allah, which is Shariat, which is according to Quran and word of Ahl al-Bayt. And at the last point, I just mentioned that maybe now we think that, okay, this Surah Qashiyah we are not the audience of Surah Qashiyah because we are believers. We try to set our life according to Allah's plan. For example, we pray, we fast, we try to set our life according to that programming, to the program of Sharia. So we are not the audience of this surah at all. Because we are believers, but we should notice that this kufr and iman, belief and disbelief, is not just by tongue. We should see that, for example, if we are on the border of making decision of doing, for example, a sin, gunah, or not, what do we choose? That's the place we can test our iman, our belief. If we choose the doing gunah and doing sin, then it means that we haven't accepted by our heart that the plan which Allah has set for us is the best and most accurate plan for us. Then in that point we can test ourselves that we haven't believed that yet by our heart. And we haven't said, so we don't believe that. For example, Allah has said, just as an example, Allah has said to pay khums. We say, no, we give sadaqah enough, we give away lots of sadaqah, but while we give lots of sadaqah, why should we pay khums then? And we ignore khums. What does it mean? It means that the plan Allah has set for our life to pay khums, in that case, we are clearly saying that we don't believe that it's the perfect and most accurate plan. So we do according what we want to. Or for example, again, just as an example, for example, we say, okay, we pray, we fast, and what if we don't wear hijab? Or we don't wear hijab completely according to Islamic laws that, for example, everything is what is wajib on hijab. For example, covering our hair, covering our wrists to our hands up to wrist, covering our feet with socks. Everything is part of complete hijab. We say no, we pray, we fast, but hijab, when it comes to hijab, okay, however we feel that we look more beautiful, we set our hijab in that way. It means that we haven't accepted the program Shariat has set for us. Allah has set for us through Shariat. We say that it's not the perfect plan, so we do according to our plan, what we think is right. So if we notice this, we see that every second in our life we are under testing, that we are the audience of Surah Ghashiyah. Every second in our life, not we say that okay, once we have been the audience and that's finished. No, every minute in our life, we need the guidance of Surah Ghashiyah in our life. In any action we want to take, economical ones, social relations, family relations, whatever you think. It's all, every minute we need the guidance to be guided by Surah Ghashiyah. Maybe that's one of the reasons that it has been advised to recite Quran repeatedly and repeatedly. Keep at least, for example, 50 ayahs per day, recite Quran, maybe one. And reciting, we know that reciting Quran should be with tadabbur, because as we explained in the first session, that in Quran it is saying that أَفَلَا يَتَدَبَّرُونَ فِي الْقُرْآنِ, don't they do tadabbur in Quran? And we explained about tadabbur, and we don't want to repeat all those. So we should be just careful that every minute we are on the test. Allah is testing our belief and disbelief, our kufr and iman, our real belief. May Allah make us one of the practitioners of Quran and words of Allah, Ahlul Bayt, so we will be safe from the fatigue and suffering, the punishment of the day of Ghashiyah and judgment, inshallah. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad wa ajal. Okay, so is there anybody wants to leave the group? And anybody else got question? I'm here. Any question?
Assalamualaikum. Yes,
Assalamualaikum.
I got one. I missed number 24. Ayat number 24 tarjuma. That's my
Yeah.
first question. The other is that Ain, we normally say Ain is the eye, isn't it? So
So
is
let
it
let me
here it's
answer
the
your
meaning?
first question, Sister Fazwa, and
Sure.
then we will go to your next question. فَيُعَذِّبُهُ اللَّهُ الْعَذَابَ الْأَكْبَرَ. It says that, we explained that when Allah is telling Prophet فَذَكِّرْ, remind them of what? Remind them of the wonders of creations of these creatures like camel, sky, jabal, mountain, and earth. And they need reminder. إِنَّمَا أَنْتَ مُذَكِّرٌ. And we explained that it means that you are just reminder. لَسْتَ عَلَيْهِمْ بِمُسَيْطِرٍ. You are not a controller over them. Then this question comes in that so when a prophet is just a reminder and he is not the controller, doesn't it make any difference for people, those people who they believe or disbelieve? Allah is saying, إِلَّا مَنْ تَوَلَّى وَكَفَرَ فَيُعَذِّبُهُ اللَّهُ الْعَذَابَ الْأَكْبَرَ. Yes, there is difference. So those who they turn away from prophet's message and they don't believe, they disbelieve that perfect programming of Allah, then Allah will punish them. فَيُعَذِّبُهُ اللَّهُ. Allah will punish them. Al-Azab al-Akbar, the hard punishment. Great, very hard punishment. Okay, your second question, please.
Yeah, thank you so much. The other one is Ain. Ain mean we learn so far
And
is the eye, but is it here? It means the chashma, the spring.
no, in Cheshme. Cheshme means, Ain, spring. Those places which water comes out directly from ground, from
Yeah, yeah,
earth comes out. We say in
yeah,
Farsi we say Cheshme,
yeah.
but in English they say spring.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but normally we learned before the Ain meaning eye as well. Is that a different
Yeah,
Ain?
Ain mean can sometimes, yeah, can, but here not. This Ainun Jariya means spring.
Okay.
Yeah, spring, flowing spring.
Okay.
Yeah.
And when we use the fa, like in afala or fal yanzuruna, so what's the meaning of fa in the start of the some of the letters? Is it
Yeah,
more emphasis or?
no, very good question, Sister Faiza. Fa in Arabic, fa has got different meanings and different rules. Okay, for example, sometimes it means then. For example, in أفلا ينظرون إلى الإبل كيف خلقت means will they not then consider? Yeah, fa means then here. But in ayat 21, فذكر إنما أنت مذكر, fa has they say that this fa is fa tafri' in Arabic grammar. In fact, fa in Arabic grammar has got different rules, which I can't explain it here. But just know that these two fa, for example, the fa in ayat 21, we call it fa tafri', which means what comes after this fa is the result of what has come before this fa. Fa tafri' means this. And this فَذَكِّرْ إِنَّمَا أَنْتَ مُذَكِّرٍ in ayat 21 is that, for example, what has come after that, فَذَكِّرْ, zakir, remind them, is because, why remind them? Because they are unaware of ayat 17 to 20. The reason. You know what I repeat it again. Fa has got different rules and different meanings in Arab according Arabic grammar. But for example, in ayat 17, أَفَلَا يَنْظُرُونَ إِلَى الْإِبِلِ كَيْفَ خُلِقَتْ, fa here means then. Will they not then consider? But fa in ayat 21 is fa tafri', ta, fa, ra, ya, ain, tafri'. I will write it down in the group later. Which this type of fa in Arabic in Arabic grammars, it means when the sentence has come, the word or sentence, for example, zakir, because it's the verb, is the complete sentence as well. The sentence has come after this fa, is the result of what those sentences before fa. What were the sentences before fa in ayat 21, ayat 17 to 20? Okay. So why don't they? Will they not consider about how the camel how it was created, and how sky is raised, how mountain is fixed, how earth is spread? Then after this, because they are unaware of this, they are not aware, they don't consider this perfect design. So fazakir. Yeah. So this is the fa. But at the moment, you don't need to go deep in fa because it's hard for you. It's not, the class doesn't let me to explain more than this about fa.
Sister, I've started recording, but the
Yeah.
recording started a little bit late. So if you can briefly introduce Ghashia for
Okay.
a couple of minutes, so that the thing we missed in the
Okay.
start.
Yeah, I
That's
forgot
correct.
to tell you that. Okay, no
Yeah,
problem.
really sorry. I
No,
thought
it's okay.
Masuma started it, but
I think Masuma is absent because he's scared. She's scared because she didn't do her exam. She's scared. She didn't
I
come to
think
class
she's
today.
scared and
Yeah.
she's escaped today.
Don't worry, I will tell her off later. You
Yeah,
know,
she will.
about غاشية, هل أتاك حديث الغاشية? I said that the first ayat is the question about the day of an event which is epidemic. غاشية means which covers everything. And I brought example of coronavirus just as an example. Otherwise, they are not comparable.
Yeah.
I said that Allah, by this question, هل أتاك حديث الغاشية? Has there come to you the news of the epidemic event? Has there come to you the news of the overwhelming? Yeah. Has that news come to you? Of which news? And I said hadith. The root of hadith is hadasa. Hadasa means every word and news that is renewed and new by saying. When they say it, when they keep saying it, inform it, it will be renewed. For example, when we say hadith of our imams, yeah, traditions of our imams. So every word and news which is renewed and new by saying, we call it hadith. And then qashiyah, we said that it's an event which is epidemic, which covers everything in the world from the origin to the end. So it's Allah is saying, has there come to you the news of the epidemic event? And by this question, Allah wants to attract attentions or draws audience mind towards an epidemic event, which is Qashiyah, which is the day of Qiyamah, which will cover everything. Okay, and then after this, the ayat number 1, which Allah has attracted audience minds towards this event, epidemic event, then Allah describes from ayat 2 to 7 and 8 to 16, Allah describes two different group of people, the condition of two different group of people, which they attend the day on the day of Qashiyah, on the day of Qiyamah. One group are those who are tired and under fatigue due to their actions in the world, which we explained in second group,
Yeah.
which kind of actions they had. So they are amilatun nasaba. They had actions, but they are tired and under fatigue because of their actions, and they will be burned in fire, and there will be no food for them except a bitter thorny plant, and this bitter thorny plant will not give them strength and will not fulfill their hunger. Still they feel hungry, and when they are thirsty, tusqa min aynin aniya, they will be drunk by boiling water, from boiling spring, which I explained. Ain means spring, and anya which the root is anaya. It means that reach the end time, reaching the end of the time. It means that Ain Anya means the spring, which in terms of heat intensity has reached the end of its heating time. It means that it cannot be hotter than that.
Okay.
And in the ayat 8 to 16, Allah describes that group of people who their face are enjoyable, they are happy, and they are, Allah explains. I think you have recorded from this.
Yeah, after
Ismaili.
that I've recorded.
Yeah.
Last thing, so we can say that the groups of ayat are from 1 to 6 is 1 to 16 is first group, and then from 17 to 25 is second group. So the main the main group of ayat is from 1 to 16. Is that right?
No, we can't say the main group of ayats are 1 to 16. In fact, the main guidance of the surah is that Allah wants to attract attention of those unaware people who they are unaware of their actions, because they don't consider the precise and perfect and skillful, the most professional engineering and programming of Allah, which has the most accurate plan and program which Allah has set for the creatures in this world, in the world. So because they don't consider it, they don't believe, and they don't accept the message of Prophet, and they don't believe that this is the most accurate program. So they don't adopt their actions in this world according to the plan of and the program of Allah, which has been set through Shariat, law of Shariat, Islamic laws, which has been set by Quran and word of Ahlul Bayt. So they don't set according to this, and because their actions are not according to this program, so they are amilatun nasaba. On the day of Qashiyah and judgment, and the day of Qiyamah, they are tired of their deeds and actions.
Nasiba mean they are exhausted.
Yeah, they are exhausted. Yeah, they have done lots, but they see that there was no result for it. Yeah, that's what. And then we said that the reason Allah has described as the first group has described those they are they didn't adopt their life according to the plan of Allah, and the first group Allah explained is about those people who, in fact, about those unaware people, is that the priority and aspects of Surah Qashiyah is to warn this group of people, these unaware people, to attract their attention towards the most accurate plan of Allah. That we don't need to, if we are wise enough, it's not hard to understand. It's easy to, just by looking and noticing and considering the wonders of creation, it's enough that we understand that the plan Allah has set for us is the most accurate plan. Like we brought the example according to the ayat, camel, creator of camel, that Allah has set his creature according to in the perfect way that he can carry mankind or load from one place to another place to reach his carriage to its density. So the plan Allah has set for us to guide us from our origin to our density, to have a pleasant meeting with him, is the best and most accurate plan.
Yeah.
So if we
Thank you very much.
No problem. Any more questions?
Does innama mean only?
Yeah, innama means only, and in Arabic grammar, when innama comes, in this only goes to the last part of the sentence. For example, innama anta muzakkar. Anta means you. Muzakkar, your reminder. So when we say only, it's not that you are the only reminder. No, it means that you are only reminder. You are just reminder, not controller of them. It means that, as we explained, that Allah didn't force anybody. What doesn't force anybody to accept the Sharia, because in that case there was no use, there was no benefits for rewards and punishments if they were forced to accept it.
Thank you so much.
No problem. And the name of this grammar is Hasr, but Innama is one of the the rules of Hasr, means limiting in Arabic grammar, which it has got its different branches, and we don't want to go to it.
So if we think about the innama, I know it's not related here, but if we think about the innama in ayat at-tathir, then
exactly. Very good example.
Think about that one then.
Very good example, Sister Faiza. Very good example that in ayat Tahrir, in ayat Tahrir, Allah wants to say you to Ahl al-Bayt that I have purified you completely. This purification is just for you.
Okay.
Yeah, you can if you look at ayat of Tahrir, ayat of Tahrir, it's exactly, you can use this rule of Innama to prove it. That's what Allah means, that you and only you or Ahl al-Bayt to purify. Very good example. Yeah.
Thank you, Jazakallah.
No problem. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for listening. Inshallah, I'll meet you next week.
Thank you so
Inshallah.
much.